It's the first week of 2025. To welcome the new year, I want to talk about the 5 small things that you can do today to make 2025 an incredible year. Now, in the past, around this time of the year, I'll be here sharing with you the luxury items that I wanted to buy for the year. But as many of you know, I've gone through a lot of personal growth in the last few years, which I'm really thankful for because I no longer rely on consumerism for my happiness. Essentially, I don't want to just talk about shopping, and more shopping. I want this community to be a place where we can focus on intentional living and designing a fulfilling life. And now let's get right into it. First thing first, if you see shopping as a hobby, you need to get a new hobby. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying things that serve a purpose, especially if it's something that you will use for many years. But if you're shopping because you're sad, bored, stressed, or overworked, it is very likely that you're over-consuming because you see shopping as a form of escapism. And I know that because I used to do that myself. I remember those days when I went to Chanel for a shopping spree just because I had a bad day at work. Now, did I feel better after treating myself to a Chanel something? Yes, I did, but only for a short while. In fact, many times after the excitement wore off, I actually felt worse because deep inside I knew it wasn't the answer to my misery. If anything, I had put myself in a worse position by spending so much on something that I didn't actually need. If you're struggling to cut down on your shopping, I really recommend that you try doing a low buy year. It has helped me tremendously in my own journey. In fact, I now do low buy consistently just because it's almost like a second nature to me. You see, when you're running a rat race, sometimes you forget that you're even in the race because you're so busy running. So by doing a low buy, you're essentially removing yourself from the rat race and giving yourself the opportunity to see it for what it actually is. And trust me, when you see how unsustainable this whole thing is, you'll never go back. This year, I also hope you'll find a true hobby that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and something you do just for the sheer joy of it. Down below, feel free to suggest any hobbies that you think are nourishing for the mind and the soul. I think a lot of people here will welcome the helpful recommendations. The second thing you should do this year is forgetting about the perfect timing because there isn't one. If you have a project in mind, don't overthink it, just go for it. The thing is, with a lot of things in life, you have to learn along the way. If you don't make a mistake, how would you know where to improve and what to work on? As Mark Zuckerberg puts it, ideas don't come out fully formed, they only become clearer as you work on them. You just have to get started. And I cannot agree with him more. For example, I'm really glad that I started this YouTube channel on a whim. I remember one weekend, I just very casually said to my husband, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. And he went, sounds good, go for it. So the next thing I knew, I was filming my first video using the camera that I use for my day job. I remember I had to rest the camera on the baby chair because I had no tripod. I also had no lighting, no microphone, and no audience. So if I'm acting a bit awkward, please bear with me. I hope I'll get better at this soon. The video quality was terrible, but I'm glad I started the project anyway, instead of wasting my time on paralyzing myself with research and overthinking. The same thing happened with my illustration project. About 2 years ago, I started thinking about a certain project. I knew it was a big, scary thing to work on, but I decided to not worry too much and just take one day at a time. And so I started drawing every single day because my priority is to improve on my skills. And as I continued to work diligently, I started having a very clear idea about what I want this illustration project to become one day. So if you have any ideas that you feel really passionate about, go for it this year, especially if it's something that doesn't require a massive upfront capital. And even if it doesn't blow up into a huge success, so what? You'll still learn a lot along the way. And that brings me to the third thing you can do this year to make it an amazing one. which is detaching yourself from the outcome when you embark on a project. Instead, allow yourself to simply enjoy the journey. Now, I think it's amazing to set goals, but you don't want to be so fixated on them that you don't allow any deviation from your plan or any changes along the way. The truth is, some changes can be healthy and even necessary. I have spoken about this before, but for years I was really obsessed with the idea of hitting a certain financial milestone and then retiring early. I was so fixated on my goal that I completely forgot to live my life. In fact, the other day I had a conversation with my little boy, and he told me that he never used to enjoy half terms and summer break because my husband and I were always working, and so we had to leave him in the daycare, and he just found it really boring. That conversation really reminded me about how reluctant I was to take any time off from work just because I couldn't wait to get to early retirement. And you know what? The sad thing is, it doesn't matter how much money I have, my little boy will never be 4 years old again. So now I choose to live a life with more balance. I still work really hard at my job, but I also reserve time for my hobby and my family. And when the time is right, I take breaks from work to travel with my family and create memories. I truly believe that if you allow yourself to enjoy the journey, do what feels right, and allow things to evolve, good things will come eventually. For example, I used to work in a setting where they put a lot of focus on how much income we brought in, but I've come to realize that when I care about my patients, really listen to them, and see them as real people, that's when they trust me and my job also becomes a lot more enjoyable. Of course, we all need to make a living, but I think when you provide values in a genuine way, the money will come later. I also tried to enjoy the journey with this channel. It was terrifying to move from shopping content to topics about intentional living because I was worried about losing my audience and also sponsors. But I also know that if I want to do this for a long time, I simply cannot pretend to be someone I'm not. Now, I have no idea about where this channel is heading, but at least I'm enjoying it right now, and I can also choose who to work with, and that is really important for me. Something else you should do this year is to stop caring about what other people think about you. Now, humans are social creatures by nature, so we all do care to a certain extent. At the very least, we want to feel accepted by our loved ones. But what I am referring to here is this constant worry of judgment from other people, especially people we're not even that close to. And I think this narrative comes from a place of insecurity because when you don't feel like you're good enough on the inside, that's when you look for validation from the outside. This will then translate into trying to impress other people with a big house, exotic holidays, designer furniture, and everything else that supposedly represent a good and happy life. This actually depicted my very own experience. You see, I grew up with very little resources, and so as soon as I started making a living, I was very eager to prove to myself and everyone around me that I was now living a very different life. This led to me buying more and more luxury handbags, even though I already had way more than I could practically use in my everyday life. Whereas now, I don't care as much about what other people think about me because I've learned to accept myself. And that self-acceptance comes from living a life that feels true to me. I still like nice things, but I no longer buy anything just to try to impress anyone because I feel happy and grounded in myself. I have a fulfilling job, a wonderful family, a nourishing hobby, and so many other things to be thankful for. So I really don't feel like I need to prove anything to anyone. If you are struggling with how you're perceived by other people, I really recommend that you take some time this year to work on yourself. So what I mean is you want to take good care of yourself and be really honest about what is actually important to you, because when you're happy and you're living as your true self, you won't be that interested in trying to please other people. Besides, everyone is in their own world and nobody pays that much attention to us anyway, so you might as well just be yourself. I also think it's really important to be mindful with how you use social media because, as we all know, Social media is not real life. Something else you can do this year to make 2025 amazing is to stay away from negativity. I welcome constructive criticism, but sometimes I do come across some really negative comments and negative people. In the past, this used to bother me a lot, and sometimes I even tried to accommodate to those negative people, hoping they would change their mind about me. But now, I've come to realize that the best thing I can do with negativity is to move on from it. You see, other people's opinions are just that, opinions. They come from their own perspectives, experiences, and sometimes insecurities. And most of the time, they have nothing to do with you. So don't spend your time and energy worrying about it. The reality is, no matter who you are, where you go, what you do, not everyone will like you anyway, so why bother trying to change people and their opinions? So if there's a project you want to take on, an outfit you want to wear, or a goal you want to achieve, just focus on what you want to do and don't give negativity any power. Those are the 5 things you can do today to make your 2025 an amazing year. If you have anything to suggest, please share them down below just so everyone can benefit from the conversation. I'm very excited about 2025 and I really look forward to what this year will bring. Wishing everyone a fantastic start to the new year. Take care and I will see you soon.